I want to welcome tonight our special guest on the Cher Show, author J.E Serrano. Hello, and welcome to the Cher Show. And I am here with my friend Saran, and he is not only are you a author, a musician, and a singer, and a former therapist.
Yeah.
But you are an author of a brand new book coming out, and we are here to talk about that and all your other projects. And I'm so excited to have you, J.E Serrano, which is your author name, today on the Cher Show. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate being here.
Yes, exactly. So you do all these things, and is there one thing that you particularly like doing the most?
Well, currently I'm engaged full time in writing. So, but other than that, I also do editing, video editing. Just a bunch of things I love to get into. I'm part of the Mill City Singers, so I joined part of a choir.
Right.
Yes. I'm an active member of my community.
It's so important now.
I totally believe that to be so because society is fracturing because the community has fractured.
Sure.
And it's only in the binding of the community can society become whole again. But I think that's a long way off, and that's a totally different story. But I find it quite interesting that oftentimes we look at something in a critical eye before we give it any type of credence. Our nature has become cynical and pessimistic. There's very little optimism to be found, which I think is important that each and every one of us bring an optimistic voice to the table, such as you're doing.
Sure.
Your show is a lovely show. You go around to different sets and you set up these people to tell their story, and that binds us together. And so I don't think you may realize what an adhesive factor your show has.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
So nice. And it's so important, like for you to work in the community, to inspire young kids to get into the arts and do, positive things, don't you think? And especially like with you writing, I mean, is there a certain thing that you can do to get kids into writing? Is it something that just comes naturally, do you think, to people?
I think everyone has a story to tell. I just think they don't have either the means or the knowledge on how to express that story.
Right.
I think once they're given that particular tools, then everyone can express the story the way they choose to. A lot of that is being seen now on social media.
Oh, right.
A lot of people are utilizing that. And in regard to the art of writing, it is an art form. And
Sure.
you have to take time and patience in order to learn that. But one of the things I aspire to do is find out what each and every young person aspires to be themselves. Aside from writing, aside from anything else, I teach martial arts.
Okay.
So I teach philosophy. I teach, I teach conflict resolution. Just things that'll help people empower themselves. I don't believe we can empower people. That's something they do for themselves. We can lay down the tools and the path and say, hey, if you walk this way, you may be able to get there. And I think that has been lacking. People have become very selfish. Me seems to be the main theme nowadays. But that doesn't lead to anything constructive. That type of homogeneous thinking tends to stagnate. And anything that specializes in nature can find a very quick end, because once that thing that is feeding them is gone, they have nowhere else to go because they specialized in that one thing.
Right.
So one of the things I try to share with people is, if you can, try to find the diversity within yourself. So for instance, I like to write, I like to do music, I play guitar,
right.
I do martial arts, so I do a lot of things. And it's not because I'm talented, it's just because I'm a human being.
Sure.
And each and every one of us have that drive to try different things.
Yeah, and I think that's important to try different things, because I think a lot of people are saying, well, I'm going to just stay in this lane for my whole life and just do this and not venture out to do other things, when they may have a talent that they're not even aware of,
Exactly
or
right.
they may have a passion that they're not even aware of until they start trying different things.
Right.
And so I think that's really important to, broaden your, as they say, your horizon, to really, go outside of the box. And like we were talking earlier, even if it's scary or, you get rejected or whatever, just don't be afraid. Just do what you have to do.
I would dare say that I think a lot of people misunderstand fear.
Right.
Fear is not the great enemy we think it to be. Fear is the greatest motivator you can ever have. You'll run faster, jump higher, go in the ghetto and say, cut, and watch how fast people run, So I think oftentimes, or if you hear gunfire, look how fast you move. Right. So I think oftentimes what we tend to do is, partly because of our indoctrination, partly because of the way we're raised, we're taught that you have limited potential.
Yes.
Your potential is only limited by your own self. You set the boundaries, you set the cage in which you reside in. So I always try to share with people, like I myself am not a religious person, I'm more of a philosopher, excuse me. Can't speak well, but I'm a philosopher.
No, you are.
But I try to tell people the only real sin is untapped potential. Right. And that lies within us when we put doubt upon ourselves. Now you've put a tap on your potential. And when you do that, you've limited yourself and the grand experience of what life is. If you can't go outside and hear a bird sing and just like smile, just because this bird is singing such a beautiful song, you might be lacking in something.
Sure.
So if once we learn to appreciate the little things, the big things will be like, wow, that's wondrous. So yeah, I think oftentimes we belittle ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And I know in your books you say that you find inspiration, it comes from within and things around you.
Yes.
So what motivates you to, because I mean, you've written many books, and I just can't even imagine where it comes from. I mean, seriously.
Some would say I'm partially insane.
know.
Others would say I have a vivid imagination. I would dare say everyone's imagination is vivid to a point.
Right.
But it all depends upon your influences, your experiences, and whether your influences closed you or opened you. Mm-hmm. And therein lies the difference where if something bad happens to you, or, Friedrich Nietzsche said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Right. But it may frighten the hell out of you and close you up. As opposed to I went skiing once. It was not a pretty experience. All my athleticism was for nothing. It was a rather pitiful sight. However, I'm not afraid to do it again. Right. I haven't had an invitation, but I'm not afraid to, and don't you invite me.
Really?
But, seriously though, I think when something bad happens to us, we tend to really close ourselves. Yeah. And that's our fear. I think we have to learn how to master our fear. And once we learn how to do that, we'll begin a process of evolution, a new evolution, where we'll become perhaps Homo novus, the new human. So we won't be dictated by fear, which the people in power depend upon us to be afraid, which is why we have 24-hour news. Disaster, danger, fire, this, earthquake, right? So it's just for 24 hours of news, they might put 1 minute of good news.
I know.
They might. And it's a commercial.
Sure, yeah, right, exactly, exactly.
And it's not a pretty commercial,
right.
It's about bowel movement,
Sure, yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
So I think that utilizing your show, you're creating this adhesive coalition, for lack of a better word, that allows people to go, wow, I enjoyed watching that person. That's kind of cool what they're doing. I might try that.
Sure.
And that kind of inspiration we can spread to one another because it's contagious.
Sure.
Much like laughter, much like a yawn. The greatest gift of humanity is mimicry. Right. The fact that what one person can do, another person can do, if they have the right opportunity to do it. So, a lot of people go, oh, I don't have the opportunity, Serrano. Well, make the opportunity.
Make the opportunity.
Create the opportunity for yourself.
Exactly. You
Don't wait
have
for it.
to.
Yes, don't wait for it to come.
Yeah, I know firsthand. You have to make the opportunity.
Yes.
You know, you could be a motivational speaker. I mean, have you, no, I mean, I'm not saying that seriously, because it's like every time I talk to you, it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, I get enthralled in what you're saying.
You're way too kind.
No, I'm.
She's saying that for the audience. Don't believe her.
No, I'm serious. But I wanted to mention your books, because they combine horror, action, mythology, Christian fiction, and is there anything else you can add? And do all your books kind of run along those lines, or are they all different in a way, or kind of similar?
So I just recently opened up my own publishing firm.
Right, I was going to mention, right.
And because of that, I'm able now to expand upon my my genre. Mm-hmm. But initially, what I wanted to do was, because I'm well read in those particular fields, my take on religion is, like, for instance, my take on the notion of God. I don't believe in that word itself. I have faith in the Creator, not belief. I believe in myself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
my faith is in the Creator.
Sure.
That said, so like when it's a partly cloudy day and there's a dog ear, or there's a sunbeam, or there's a ray of light, there are differentiations within names that derive from the same source. So what one person may call Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, I just call the Creator. So, which is why I wear, and which is part of my my logo on my company, is because these three things harmonize in a message, and that message is live.
right.
You know, because the primary message in any religion is you're alive. That's the prime. After that, it's worship me and all that other good stuff. But the main message is you're alive. You're here.
Right.
You know, a famous maxim of the Buddha is, you know, when you focus on the past, you'll find yourself in depression. When you focus on the future, you'll find yourself in anxiety, and only in the present can you find contentment. In reading that, I was like, oh, that clarified a lot of things for me. Like, why do I feel sad whenever I think about this, that, and it's because you can't change it. It's done. Why do I feel nervous when I'm thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow? It's because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, right.
It's the unknown. Right. You can't do anything about it. So that all those fears lie in the sense of powerlessness.
Sure.
So only in the present can you find power.
But don't you think that's like human nature of everybody?
Absolutely.
So it's like how do you get over that? You know, that's the problem.
I have a wonderful reply for that. I have a wonderful.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the story of Jesus walking on the water?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people have different interpretations of that, of course. My interpretation is that we're 70% water, right?
Right.
So when Jesus, we're also what? We're also earth, wind, and fire, and air, right? And space, right? These are the elements we're made out of. So, fire can be love, anger, jealousy. Earth can be a sense of stability. Air can be your thinking. Space can be what I need between you and I, you know?
Right.
So, that said, how about Jesus walking on the water was him rising above his nature. Rising above the nature of anger and jealousy and fear. And through that, he said, if you had the faith of a mustard seed, you can tell that mountain to get up and move, and it would.
I see.
So it's all about the faith within ourselves.
Sure.
You know, for the Creator.
Right.
And the belief in ourselves that we can do a thing. So when people go, oh, God, help me out of this, that, and the other thing, it's like, I think God put you on earth with everything you would need. Because what father wouldn't put his child with everything that they would need?
Right.
So, to me, when they're asking for all these things from a supreme being, that's kind of throwing a gift back in your face.
Right.
You gave me this gift, but I'm not going to use it. Just give me more. It's like, wow, really?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So don't be surprised if your prayers aren't answered. You know.
Sure.
So
exactly.
That's my take on it, and I know I'll get a lot of flack for that. But
no, that's good. Well, tell us a little bit about your latest book, The Devil's Therapist.
The Devil's Therapist. Oh, so I took my former profession and I put a spin on it with the theology, and I said, well, you know, what if the devil came to the world and instead of a priest or a holy man stopping him, a therapist had a conversation with him? And I thought, well, you know, if we were to follow theology, language was created by Satan, Lucifer, theologically speaking. And if that's the case, who would be a better conversationalist than Satan himself? And who would rival such a conversationalist than someone that studied human emotion? That would be the therapist. And so I have them conversing about why Lucifer should not take over the world. And I think, from my perspective, it was an interesting book.
Yeah, it sounds like it, for sure.
I mean, I add some supernatural stuff and flavor it up. You know what I mean? It's not like a
Right.
boring conversation, you know? So there's a little action into it and everything like that.
Yeah,
Being from New York, I got to add action in there.
yeah, from Coney Island.
Coney Island, Brooklyn.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and then you ended up here in Minneapolis.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I married a woman from Bloomington, and so I moved up here to help raise my daughter with her.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. And you also have another book coming out after that.
Yes.
How do you write all these books so, not quickly, but I mean, it's unbelievable.
Think, you know, I think with anyone, if they put their mind to something, it just gets done.
Right.
You know, other people look and go, wow, how'd you do that?
Right,
and they're
right.
like, how did you get to be so long and so, you know, all the pieces that you have? Because you did it.
Oh, yeah, well, true,
There's
yeah.
nothing,
I
there's
guess
nothing
it's
to
like
it but to
second
do
nature
it,
to
right? Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Exactly.
So
And go on.
The next book is called Terrapocalypse. And it's about, in Greek mythology, the earth spirit is called Gaia. So it's about the Gaia spirit awakening because of the crap mankind has dumped into her.
That's right, you're right.
Medical waste, the pollution, nuclear waste, and all that. And she wakes up kind of insane and angry. And there's nothing worse than Mother Nature with an attitude.
Yeah,
so,
really.
as she starts working her magic on the world by destroying it, there are a set of twins that are born. And their harmonic frequencies are in sync with hers. And because of that, they're able to converse with her. And they convince her that we'll fight your battles for you. Just please don't destroy the world. So they set about trying to make the world right. And yeah, that's basically, you'll have to read the book.
I can't wait. Oh my God, that just sounds so interesting. And what do you contribute your success to this point?
Dedication, tenacity, courage, because you have to have a little bit of courage to do something that you're not familiar with. Because I didn't start out as a writer. I've always, you know, music has been my thing, dancing has been my thing, acting.
Yeah, acting,
Yeah,
right, exactly.
But a few years back, I came down with cryptococcal meningitis, and it almost killed me, and it made me bedridden for a few years. So I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, and my careers were out the window then.
Right.
But
Did you write a lot during that point? Or
no, I
you
couldn't.
didn't? You couldn't write it
I
out.
couldn't cogitate a verb. No.
Wow.
Yeah. So the doctor said call his mom because he's going to pass, but through great staffing and the love of a very good woman who nursed me back to health, you know. Thank you, Danae. I love you.
Aw.
Yeah. So I got to the point where I could move around, and I joined the Y.
Right.
Which is my second home. I love the Y.
We are here right now.
We're
at the
here right
Y.
now at the Y.
Yes,
This
at the
place
Y.
is
I love
rocking.
it, right?
Great attitudes here.
Here in
And,
Minneapolis.
That's right. And so I got to working out, got on my feet again. And then I called my doctor. I said, you know, I saw a guy faint when you was giving him an injection. What was that all about? He said, yeah, he saw his own blood and fainted. I said, what is that called? He said, that's called vasovagal syncope. And I was like, vasovagal syncope. He said, yeah. I said, I'm gonna write a book about that. So I wrote The Bloodsick Vampire.
Wow.
And it's about a vampire that faints at the sight of blood. And that's where my writing career began.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
Kind
And you know, like, where can people find your books? I saw like Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble, Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah. So most of the media stuff you can find online.
That's great. I saw Kindle.
Kindle, yeah, I believe so. I have to call my agent to find all that stuff.
Isn't that amazing though that your books can be read like that everywhere and found everywhere? I mean, doesn't that just kind of freak you out?
That's the good part of modern day internet.
Uh-huh.
You know, so yeah, I think we're being signaled.
Oh no, it's okay. What is there anybody that you want to thank that's really helped you along the way?
Yes. First, I want to thank Danae for the support, for the nurturing, for the care, for the love. I love you, baby. Thank you. I want to thank my patron, Duffy Martin. Duffy, if it wasn't for you, buddy, I wouldn't be where I am. This gentleman saw the state I was in. He saw what I wanted to do, and he put forward the finances.
That
and has been a constant support for me. Man, I love you, dude. I love you. And he owns a beautiful place called Duffy's Bar and Grill in Osseo, Minnesota.
Okay.
Has the best food in the world. Oh my God, the food is so good. So yeah, thank you, Duffy, very much. And then of course, all my friends, my brother, Hector, DJ Hecky Hot Tracks out of Brooklyn, New York. Thank you, brother, for being supportive.
Right.
Absolutely. My mother, who, you know, a single woman that doesn't understand the language in Brooklyn, New York, raised 2 hostile kids. And she did it all by herself, and she guided me, and I love you, Mom. Beyond understanding, I love you. And I guess, you know, the list is too long.
Yeah, right.
But I want to thank all my friends that supported me through the years.
Yeah, because you have to have the support
Absolutely.
in order to get to where you are.
Absolutely right.
Really?
I want to thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank the guy behind the camera guy. Thank you.
Hey, you know, I do have another question though.
Yes,
like, you know, with all these great books you have out, is there any chance of ever putting them into movie form?
Oh, that's a lovely question. I don't know how much I'm allowed to reveal, but according,
they just sound like something that would be,
my
you know?
agent, according to my agent, we have a few movie houses that are interested.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, would they be great?
It would be wonderful because then I could do all the things that I wanted to do.
Sure.
And a lot of them has to do with more with helping people. You know?
Right.
My dream is to one day open a clinic, open a hospital, you know, just open a place where homeless people can go and rest for the nights, you know, safely.
Sure.
I have a documentary you can find on YouTube about homelessness.
Oh,
Yes,
what is the
ma'am.
name called?
Homeless.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
And I'll send you a link.
Oh, please
And,
do. Have it posted.
yeah, so that's basically what I would like to do, and you know, fund people that need funding.
Yes.
You know, I would love to be that well.
Sure.
You know, that people can dip their ladle in. You better stop doing it.
And what is the name of your publishing company? If you wanna get it?
IKD Publishing.
IKD Publishing. Oh, great.
It's named after my mother, my fiance, and my daughter.
Oh, that's so nice. That is so nice. Well, I just have one more question, and that is, besides doing this interview, what is the stupidest thing you've ever done? Agreed to do? Besides this interview.
Try drugs.
Oh, good answer. Good answer.
Yeah, that was the dumbest thing I ever did because it robbed years from me.
Yeah, right?
It put me in a state of emaciation. Yeah, I'm going to use words like that.
That's right.
It took everything from me that I thought I would gain. So, yeah, that's what I would suggest. Although it sounds corny to a lot of kids, you know, it's like...
No, but, oh my God.
The fact, especially now with the fentanyl. Please.
Definitely.
It's taking a drag of weed worth your life.
Right,
No.
Definitely. But I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Cher Dial Show. And would you please come back and can we do a follow-up interview? Because this was so fun.
Send me an invitation.
I definitely will. Definitely will.
Please do.
And I really do want to thank you. It was such a pleasure talking with you. I could talk to you for the longest time. You're so interesting, and you inspire me. I mean that. I really do mean that.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank Stella Parton for our theme song. Thank you, Stella. It means a lot to me. And we will be back with our next show. And once again, our special guest, Serrano and J.E Serrano, the author.